Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale around Yak Ben. We have a fantastic show for you. Punishment for match PvP manipulators, a hiccup in the friendships department, and upcoming World v World and PvP profession balance changes, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow hosts. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and also host of Zero to Hero on this channel Wednesdays. Definitely check it out. The voices of the internet are going crazy and feel like they are being treated like the kid. Say hello to Jim.
I just don't. ANet, mom and dad just don't understand us. This isn't just a phase. This is who we really are.
Wait, can I really enrage the internet and be like, typical millennials?
Oh, God. Let's not go there.
Oh, fun. And he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, will the new balance change leave him finding a stranger in the Alps? Say hello to Age.
Stranger in the Alps? Maybe.
The funny thing is, that's probably only making sense to me if it's the video I linked in when you first posted that. For anybody that doesn't, yeah.
I didn't watch that yet.
If anybody is interested, YouTube that, and it should come up with what's the, I forget the movie name, but it's basically a uncensored version, a dub over. Yeah.
The dude.
Yeah, the dude. Okay. Big Lebowski. There you go. Thanks, Carnifex. Anyway, this is only the intro and we're already falling apart. All right.
Put the wheels back on.
Yeah. And she writes for MMORPG.com and also her own site, MMORly.com. She is roaring, soaring, but never boring. Say hello to Robin.
Oh, yay. I'm not boring.
I was so proud of myself when I came up with that. I was like, oh my God, it sounds like an actual intro to something.
I know. That's a legit intro. Good job.
I know. I was proud of myself. What was it? Episode 163. All right, we're done. Anyway.
Don't you guys love this show? Anyway.
Well, they're still here, so clearly.
Let's see if we can change that with all these topics of how lovely they are.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I can complain about y'all millennials because I am not a millennial.
Oh, I don't even know anymore. I keep changing. Anyway,
this show started great. I'm sorry.
Oh, what a train wreck show so far, and we're only like a couple minutes in.
Well,
anyway,
let's get into the best part of this.
Okay.
Well, we'll get to that stuff. Let's say the juicy bit, but you know, at least we're not fighting each other right now verbally.
Yet.
Yeah, Mouth and I saw it. Yeah.
What you know, but this past week, there was an announcement on the forums about the PvP match manipulation. And they have responded with, after a careful investigation of matches and account data, we've confirmed that certain players were involved in PvP matchmaking or match manipulation during the current season. The players involved have been removed from the leaderboards and given dishonor for a period of 3 months. We will continue to monitor the game for incidents of this sort and will take action on other accounts as the situation warrants it. So,
hey, Inks, I see you in chat. I got you.
Yeah. I won't lie, I instantly thought of that when, I mean, you know, basically ruining a whole game mode and 3 months.
Did they also like lose whatever gains they got through doing this? Like,
no, they don't lose any rewards. They just get permanent dishonor for 3 months, so they can't play ranked.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
Or they can just make a new account and play on that.
For 3 months. You know, they can have their fake, they can have their other account while they, but you know, Malthanis, it's such a, you know, great punishment because if they do get another account, they don't have all that gear. They'd have to grind all that gear. Oh wait, no, you don't have to do that in PvP.
Because if people are in this game for PvP, you don't need it. Like, literally everything is bragging rights. And if they're that good that they can handle the match manipulation, they're going to get everything they had back within a season anyway.
And I'm sure they played other game modes. Like that's why a permanent thing would have been more like a little bit more hard hitting, but or of some sorts.
A permanent thing again, they could just make another account. But I have to hope that like they're monitoring that kind of stuff. It's not it's not 100%, but there are ways to see if like somebody's trying to get around like a ban like that by making another account or whatever. So I would hope they would be looking out for that.
I know they talked about that last time, but there was no mention of that whatsoever. Like, because I know last time there was the big issue with either the rating thing or something where they were going to track the well, I think a lot of people brought up the IP thing, but a lot of people are like, that's so easy to kind of just, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect ArenaNet to say that they do that, just because it's one of those things of letting people know what you're going to do to like control them is problematic on multiple levels. So, but I would be really surprised if they didn't have something like that. Like, even if it's not IP, something.
Yeah,
it's got to be something.
I have more on that, but first to respond to Zekriox's point in chat about even needing elite specs to win trade, you can play anything in PvP. You can run a base classes in PvP as long as you know the matchups well and know your macro plays. You're fine. You can play base rogue. You can play base thief all the time and still run circles around the enemy team and back cap, decap, +1 fights. Thief still has those tools. Sure, you have to be better at it, but I mean that's all you got to do. And then to build more on Arlie's point is permabanning is not necessarily a practice of, you know, permanent, like actually permabanning someone. Because generally speaking, if somebody wants to find a way around a permaban, they're going to. On the internet, with the ability to make accounts, it's something that happens on MMO Champion.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
But the thing is, what you're really looking forward to is to kind of enforce the don't do this mentality. So you find someone who's not behaving properly and you hammer them for that behavior, and you kind of instill in them that fear of, okay, maybe I shouldn't screw up again. But if you get to a point of a permaban, it's making it more annoying for them to have to go through the process of getting around the ban rather than the actual permaban in the first place.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say was also there's been several people who, you know, deal with these aspects in different MMOs who've said over the recent years that all the data that they've seen from what they've done working on it, and a lot of this, of course, comes from Blizzard because they're one of the longest standing MMOs, but a lot of what they've seen indicates that permabans don't really work very well. Because often when you permaban somebody, then they get pissed off and they're like, well, shit, I've lost everything, so now I can really fuck with you guys. But more often when the temp bans, people might be pissed off initially, but that tends to go away quicker. And then when they come back, they are less likely to do things because they feel... It's something about like feeling like you've lost that account. It just breaks something where people are more likely to just do more crap as opposed to less on a new account. So
well, it's almost like the sunken fallacy cost. Like it's so hard to leave a game once you've invested so much into it, but it's also like I don't have anything to show for it, so it's like that time has been wasted. Like kind of what you're saying is like then it's almost like, you know, I need to get my revenge for losing, you know, $100 worth of, you know, I'm lowballing here, like $100 worth of, you know, time or money I've actually invested in it.
Okay, so Zekriox, yeah, you're talking about IP bans and they can get around it with VPNs. That's true. What I know Blizzard does, and I think I'll try to describe as best as possible. But what they do for people who they have given multiple warnings for, and they decide, no, okay, that's enough, it's time to permaban, they will literally do a hardware ban. And that means that even if they buy a new account, like let's say for Overwatch, if they buy a new account, they still can't play because they'll still be banned. They have to legit buy a whole new computer in order to play.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tools that they can employ outside of IP, which is why I was saying that I would be shocked if ArenaNet doesn't have something like that. I don't know if they do like a hardware type like that, but they've got to have something.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't expect them to tell us either.
Yeah.
And
I still agree. You still have to punish them regardless. And like you're saying, this 3-month thing, and they're less likely to do it. But they did advertise about this, like when the original win trading happened, and they weren't permanently. I don't think they were permanently banned, right?
Mm-mm.
Like it just seems like it's just more and more people trying it because they know they're going to basically get away with it.
Yeah.
With maybe a vacation from PvP, if you look at it that way. Like, it's like they can't PvP meaningfully for 3 months because theoretically they could still go in. They just don't get any, points.
Currently, I think this is more indicative of the problem with PvP right now. And I was kind of talking about this on Wednesday Zero to Hero, where we actually were running around in WW. I'm Bronze 1 at the end of the season. I was Gold 2. I decayed all the way down because I hadn't played ranked PvP since February 7th.
Okay. Why is that?
The ranked environment is boring. The gameplay is boring. Once you get to a certain point, you have Scourge, Firebrand, and they sit on a point. You can't engage in melee because a Scourge will nigh perma cripple you, and if you're resistance spec, if you have resistance like a warrior, you no longer have resistance. You can fight from range, but then a thief is going to get you, which I can't complain about that. That's always been the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like thieves have been the counter to someone going high damage at range for the longest time.
Well, don't worry, aren't they addressing those balance updates?
We'll get there.
Don't please.
Don't trigger age yet. He's gonna have to go get the whole 6-pack.
It's a 12-pack actually.
Oh well, there you go.
Jeez.
But it just got stale, and then it was who played. And sure, it's who played better, but it was like every match played exactly the same. It didn't matter what map I was on. It didn't matter what the team comps were. It felt like every match was the same thing, and it just came down to the point on either side. See, even Lou doesn't like this.
Yeah. It's well, that kind of feels like it's kind of like what I've gone through, I guess, since I stopped playing ranks and kind of PvP. I just drop in every now and then, but it's just that ranked for PvP has just lost that competitiveness where you can duo or solo queue and then you could try to like progress and try to get better and try to climb the ladder in order to become, better and better until, you reach the top. I feel like if I was still playing, I'd probably be plat, but I haven't been playing at all. And it's just because it's not competitive. And if I even got to the top parts of the ladder, which I highly doubt, but if people were actually playing still, but if I got up to there, there'd just be win traders, match manipulation, hacking, and it doesn't seem to be dealt with in a timely fashion. So that's just kind of what drove me away from ranked altogether. And that kind of sucks because I do like the idea of PvP. Balance is another separate issue, but well, maybe not, but like it's just that I feel like if
one of the things that I've actually had to question lately is whether or not there are elite specs that are fundamentally bad for PvP. Just at their core, no number tweaks can fix it. They are fundamentally bad for a 5v5 system. And I think Scourge and Firebrand fall under that. Because Scourge has enough personal barrier to react to ranged pressure in such a way that they can at least find cover and line of sight the ranged pressure. And don't engage a Scourge in melee. You just don't, because it doesn't work very well.
Yeah. I feel like
I'll say,
go
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I've also seen chat talking about they can still play in the tournaments, even though they're
Wait, what? Why?
like, well, is that
only
correct?
A 3-month ban.
Well, no, like, can they still play in the regular tournaments, like
Wait. Can they play in automated tournaments even though they have Dishonor? If someone in chat
if that's the case, that's
if it's just saying they have Dishonor, if they didn't say, like, I'm pretty sure
that's weird. I would say they shouldn't be allowed to. Like, if they're going to do a 3-month Dishonor, it should be applied to rank, and it should be applied to automated
chat's saying they are banned from just rank queues, so they're not banned from the more financially lucrative thing. Oh, geez, come on, Arena.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's I don't agree with that. They should apply that to automated tournaments as well.
Yeah.
And I saw Chad bringing up like the idea, which I've seen other games do, is like creating a cheaters like queue,
queue. Yeah.
Which
Prison Island is the concept.
Yeah, which granted in this game, I mean, probably the population's so small as is, you might as well just ban them instead of using the resources to filter that out.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing
because
with Mithrin.
They'll probably never find a match.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mithrin, like just custom arenas.
Yeah, I don't understand why it doesn't work that way. That you would think that would, like, it makes no logical sense why you would get banned from like the ranked in seasons but not tournaments.
Because if you're going to punish someone from like
also, I was just gonna say they're only banned from ranked, so does that mean they can just run around and unranked and be assholes?
Yes.
Yep.
Friendliest community. Friendliest community, everybody.
But I just I mean, like, unranked is something that they probably wouldn't want to play anyway. But
really?
But yeah, I know. But despite that, I
what's the point of win trading there?
Well, okay. To be fair, unranked. I played unranked not a week ago, but squirrel. But not a week ago, but 2 weeks ago for 0 to Hero. Unranked queues are still fine. I actually got to trot out my Berserker, and I still have it where I can 100 to 0 a thief if I manage to catch them in a stun, and it makes me happy.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, unranked is like the place where like you could just play whatever you want, and no one will really get mad at you, even if you lose. Like, I remember one time I played a Mesmer, and I'm terrible at Mesmer. I was just trying to learn it, and I don't know if we won or lost, but like no one complained at all. So
well, and Inks, you're not wrong. There are people who take every form of PvP super seriously. I play League of Legends. I play ARAMs almost exclusively. ARAMs, all random, all mid. It is literally the definition of a clown fiesta in a MOBA game.
Yeah, I would say people
get really angry in that too.
I was gonna say that sounds like you're playing a loot crate. Everything's random.
I mean, like, I would expect people might get a little upset, sure, but not upset enough to type in chat. That's what I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with their upsetness.
Yeah.
Also, and I did see earlier, I think Zekriox was suggesting putting all the players in like a realm of torment. Honestly, that won't work because I will report myself so I can be in the realm of torment because I don't really PvP, so I'm like I don't want my character to be in the realm of torment. But also on the case of, you know, I think we've always seen Guild Wars 1, like people would like kind of just make like fake account, like have like a dummy account so they could show off the, you know, banning of
the
doom.
somebody getting doomed.
Yeah. So
You know,
I really wouldn't like that idea of them, you know, like gamifying a ban so people would want to do it.
So I just had this image of Magnus 10 Man just standing there looking at some giant monstrosity saying, "Ban me!" like Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black.
That'd be awesome.
Just the giant monstrosity just has an ArenaNet guild tag next to him, and I'm just like, ban me!
Ban me!
Okay, I do want to bring this up because I kind of felt this way, but do you think this kind of punishment, like whatever, like irregardless of how they're punished, like do you think it's coming too late?
Yes.
I was gonna say, when does this season end?
It ended. It ended on the 12th.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
This was happening the first week.
Oh
Yeah.
my
There was
god.
a thread on Reddit, and the guy got his thread deleted because he was talking about how to match manipulate. And he had opened multiple tickets with ArenaNet, and it was still happening and nothing was being done. So he put it on Reddit to get it out to the public to try and force ArenaNet's hand.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
ridiculous.
this is when it comes out after the ranked season is over.
well, I mean, there'll be apparently one season where it's gonna be okay, because they won't be able to play in it. They'll be
Unless
just
other
making
people
more
do
money
it.
from you by doing automated tournaments.
See,
Don't you feel better?
And the thing is, what I mean by too late, like I don't even mean this season. I mean like even
With them
a year
paying attention
ago.
to the problems with the ranked queues in general, probably.
Not even like I think there was even match manipulation way before. Like now,
Yeah, I'll say Inks
where
is saying
this-
like since season 1, which I remember like we've been talking about it, like feels like
Yeah, it's
each
come
season.
up before.
Yeah.
and
It's
I don't know.
one of the, and this comes back to incentive. So you guys remember when they did the tournaments for WVW, right?
Mhm.
Yak's Bend turned right the hell out. 30, 40 deep queues every night for WVW.
Yep.
Why? Because there were skins. There were limited
Yep.
availability skins.
That's why I did it.
Everything with PvP. I thought the Ascension, I thought we'd have a year to get it tops. I thought we'd have like
Yep.
4 to 6 seasons to get it.
Yep.
Why would you think
No.
that when the collection is called Year of Ascension? Oh,
Yeah, I know, right?
shame on you.
So
Yeah,
it's
That would have
one,
made sense to do it that way. It would have been a good, like,
one of
good
the
thing.
it needs to have some kind of time gated reward in order to get people to come in from other game modes for a limited time offering. I know that Guild Wars 2 isn't really big on doing that, but with PvP, you can say, hey, I've talked about before, like do a blackline weapon, like a blackline weapon skin quality set, have it available for like 6 ranked seasons. If you hit legendary, you get 4 tickets. Then you get 3 tickets,
God.
2 tickets, and 1 ticket. So that's 3 for plat, 2 for gold, 1 for silver. If you bronze, you get nothing. She got the Sims expansion with the pets, so that's why
There's
the
a cat with a top hat, and his name is Mayor Whiskers.
Oh my.
okay. There's also apparently a dog named Spatula in the starter village, but so you. And even if people have extra tickets, if it's up for 6 seasons, they have like 8 extra tickets and turn them into gray items at the end when they cycle that set out so that they can be sold for gold.
Mhm.
It has to give some kind of time-gated impetus to get people in there. That would drive up population in PvP. And then you'd see people who liked PvP, because I know there's a shit ton of people who were around for those WW tournaments. They got into WW because they liked the skins, and then they decided, holy shit, this is actually really fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's,
And I mean,
and-
Chad brought up a good point about if we're going to ban people for win trading, shouldn't the PvP daily arena players also be banned? I have a thought on that, but I would like to hear your guys. And I'm assuming basically the custom arenas that you can go in there and basically get your PvP dailies quickly, usually. Because that is map. I mean, I guess they're manipulating the map, but match manipulation.
If ArenaNet was serious about that, they would just disable dailies for custom arenas.
Mhm.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that daily should be able to be done outside of standard queues. Like that's a personal opinion of mine. If you like, I look at custom arenas and that's like fun and practice. Like that's what I see custom arenas for. Mm-hmm. And Mithrin, you bring up a good point. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. That's why I'm saying that just getting silver gets you 1 ticket. If it's up for 6 seasons, that's 6 out of the 10 weapons that you could get from a set, because it's not 19 weapons anymore, because screw underwater weapons, apparently. And I get that, the limited time offer is something that people are bothered by, but at the same time, we were talking earlier about how people don't care, like these people who get their accounts banned, they don't care, they'll just start up a new account.
Yep.
Because
they don't lose anything, really.
Yeah, like PvP, yeah, sure, you can lose money and stuff, but like you can just get it all right back if you're that good.
Mm-hmm.
And like what Ink says, like the custom arena thing, that's kind of my same idea on it is, I mean, you're paying for that custom arena. Like, I mean, in the past when we used to do events, like theoretically, like technically we were doing match manipulation because we were trying to make a fun little game out of it, but nothing, there was no malice behind it to progress your character's account. It was more of a fun mini game, which it's like,
Yeah, I agree with that. Katie says it's less about the rewards and it's more the image being in the top 10. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you totally like you get that title, you're seen on the leaderboard as one of the top 10 players in the game, and I say that in quotes, but that's what it's about. If people want that and they want to win trade for that, they will do it if they see no penalty whatsoever.
And you want to that's a double-edged sword, because then it's so publicly known that they all win traded. We're all doing win trading to get there. So it's like, okay, so you're not actually one of the top 10 players because you had to cheat to get there.
Well, the people who follow would know, but they still there's other people who don't really follow that kind of stuff who would just see their names listed and be like, oh, hey, look at that.
I enjoy ranked PvP. I don't give 2 flying
feathers.
I was gonna go with Flarn from Bog, but I don't give 2 flying feathers about who's the top at what. Mm-hmm. I play primarily to get better at PvP. And ranked has a metric for that, to show that I am getting better. I ended the first ranked season I played in Bronze 3. And I was skirting into Platinum at the start of this season. So
good job, Malthanis.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was done using a cheesy base ranger spec, but hey.
As long as you'd use the build...
Yeah, you're actually playing the character. In a respectable
environment, you were playing the game, you're using something that wasn't meta, but was working for you, and you got there. That's all that matters.
And, I mean, like Chat was saying, people don't know who the top 10 are, and we're kind of hitting upon that. But I think it's kind of like what Robin's saying is, it's maybe because it's not your game mode of choice or the one that you're heavily... Like if you're being kept from that top 10, I'm sure you're gonna know the names. Like if that's your goal. But like while Jim is, interested and enjoys PvP, that's right now not his goal. Like maybe down the road when he becomes better and all that stuff, he might go for like the top 10.
Better. Better is better, even if it's only a little bit.
Oh wait, it's the internet. When you stop being a scrub, get on my level.
I've always found that anytime I reach a new rank in a PvP game, I go from the people who complained about me being a scrub in the previous rank. I am still a scrub, and it's just the people in the next rank up that are complaining about me. So I just stopped caring.
You're always a scrub.
Yep, pretty much. Eternal scrub. Which I won't lie, that's kind of what I saw when I saw your go live title of the Chronicles of the Eternal Sub last night, Age.
Yeah.
I saw Chronicles of the Eternal Scrub, and I'm just like, that's not right.
It's just, you know, I actually this is kind of like separate from the topic at hand, but basically, if for me, when I go into PvP, I consider myself a scrub, no matter what like rank I am. Because that way, despite like if other people are doing badly, it makes me focus on me and what I can do better. And that's what's most important, because generally when you go into a PvP match, unless it's like a small community, you're not going to see the other person again or for a long time. So you might as well just focus on yourself rather than just focusing on other people. I still do that, but mind you, I don't say anything to them, but I just focus on myself. And I've made a video about this like a long time ago, but I think it's always important when you're doing PvP to just focus on improving on yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
I need more of this.
Well, I mean, the next topic is kind of not as bad as the rest of the stuff, but you know, maybe this topic will eventually come up in their new ArenaNet Forums chats, which are, you know, we talked about in the past, are basically kind of like an AMA, but on the Guild Wars 2 official forums, and they just had their first one, and we talked about how the topic was going to be Living World Season 4, Episode 2, and how it worked was you could start posting your questions there, and then I think it was from like Thursday evening to like Friday, like the devs that were on for the forum chat that was like, in this case, had to do with Living World Season 4 Episode 2, answered, you know, the questions. So have you guys had a chance to look at that? Was there any like cool moments where they talked about things, or
here's
do
the
you
thing,
like,
though.
do you like the ArenaNet Forums chats? Okay.
Here's the thing. The initial description of what ArenaNet Forum Chats was supposed to be, that people, I believe this was supposed to be, people were supposed to submit questions where there was going to be a plethora of devs from various, you know, parts of, you know, the game, like, you know, your World vs. World dev, PP dev, Fractal dev, like, you know, that type of thing. And then they would scour all the threads that would be posted, and they would, you know, answer questions about them as best as they possibly could. What I saw, yes, ooh,
Arlie?
I was just looking over. I was like, either her camera froze or she fell asleep while H was talking. We'll continue and we'll try to find out what happened.
I don't know why you fall asleep. This is the interesting bit.
The
interesting bit is that Living World season 4 episode 2 was the focus for this forums chat, and the part where and what I read is that the focus is on Living World season 4 episode 2. Comments on other topics may be added to any of our topical subforums at any time you'd like, but please keep the conversation in this subforum exclusively on the subject at hand. So I can't ask any World vs. World questions. I can't ask any PvP questions. And this is what I thought the forum chats would be about. It's just asking about what's relevant, what's going on right now, the questions that, you know, I would like to kind of see answered about, like, game modes I'm interested in. And, like, for example, if I want to see, like, hey, Hall of Chains has been out for a little bit. Is there any plans for a new raid wing? Like, I can't ask that, like, because they probably won't answer that because they don't have the devs to answer that. And and to top it all off, they do have the AMAs for Living World episodes. So I'm like, I mean, it's good that they have the forum chats for Living World because not a lot of people have time to go to the AMA because they just got home and they haven't played the episode yet.
They need to stop doing the AMA the night of.
But yeah, I agree with that. But it's like, am I not allowed? Like, how am I going to find out about other topics of the game that I'm interested in? Like, how do I like? I thought this is what forum chats was going to be about. So
hope that they just post on the forum and hope that someone answers eventually.
And honestly, I always read it, and I think we talked about this last time, as like they were going to pick a topic so they could focus on it. I'm a little disappointed that they picked Living World Season 4 Episode 2 because they were already doing an AMA. Like, I really didn't feel like much came from this because it was literally the same thing that we had. So personally, before I can say like, this isn't really working, or hey, this is a great idea, I kind of have to wait until the second topic, because unless just because, yeah, I would like a topic of like, hey, what do you guys want to see in World v. World, or like the PvP issues, or like, what you're kind of bringing up. Like, I don't know what their second topic is, but hopefully it's not something they kind of already did.
Yeah, I don't mind that they did like a part on Living Worlds, like episode 2. Like, I think I saw some topics that came up like about Bram and how like he's not just a jerk and he's actually warming up to us again, things like that. That's great, but other parts of the game, like I want to ask about World vs. World because I feel like I'm gonna get into it too much, but basically I want to ask questions about World vs. World, and I
is it still a thing?
That's all I want to ask.
Still exist.
But basically I wanted to talk about things that are kind of relevant right now, basically, and I respected their the sub forum. I didn't ask any questions whatsoever because Living World, I think it was good, it was fine, but I didn't have any extra questions to give outside of lore. But
where is this thread at anyways?
Well,
It's
at
a whole
first,
sub forum.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
at
its
first
own
it was
subforum.
hidden,
Okay.
like you had to log in, but they did fix that, I think, after the first day. Like, it was
Yeah.
required that you had to log in to even view it, but then someone mentioned that and they did fix that, so that's
What's it called?
It's its own sub forum underneath the home called ArenaNet Forum Chats.
I can't see it. I'm not signed in.
Oh, really? It's still...
Yep.
I think that's another thing. You have to sign in. Do you?
I thought they
I
fixed
can't
that.
see the forum, so
Because I remember I had to sign in to view it, which was
Yeah, I
odd.
remember day of you had to. Oh, chat beat me to
No,
it.
no, it's
There's
at the very bottom of the game discussion section.
oh, okay. Yep, there it is.
Oh, okay.
But it does work.
Okay. But yeah, originally you couldn't view it without signing in, which was kind of an issue.
Yeah.
But it did allow me to change my avatar to a new, icon, which,
And to be honest, I think Mofongo Jones has a really good point, is that less comes of it because it's on the official forums.
Which I think that part of the reason to do it is to help bolster their official forums too, like to give it more of a reason to go there.
Yeah,
honestly,
I
think
agree
they
with
should,
that.
when Age was talking about it, I think they should couple it with the polls that they have done in the past. Like, what do you guys want?
polls.
Like, because they're trying to think of topics. Like, I think Gail said she already has the idea for the second one, so she didn't say what, but we'll see. But like, maybe have like a post of like, maybe we want to do this. Let's just say April 15th. And these are the devs of the departments we can get to answer these at this time. Out of these ones, which ones do you guys want to see the most? And like, maybe even worst case scenario, make that kind of like the schedule. Like, okay, the top one people wanted to see was World v. World. Second one was PvP, so that'll be next month's or something, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, so then we even have a schedule.
That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But I know the limitation with that is getting the devs there, timing wise. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also like with something like this where it's like a discussion for a month long, it doesn't like it can just be a thing that when those devs have free moments they can go through, or like I'm sure there's the community people are pruning it a bit or whatever and like saying, hey, this is a particular one you should probably answer or something. So it doesn't have to be, it's not like the same as trying to get them on for guild chat is what I'm trying to say, like where you need like a specific time or whatever available for them. You can have the thread up, and then when they have the time available, they can go and answer questions and stuff. It's a little easier.
Yeah, and Inks, that's ultimately the thing, is like, yeah, they want you to ask questions about the specific topic, because that's always what felt weird. Like, Age, you were talking about with the Red AMAs, you could ask about World War and stuff, and I was always annoyed when someone asked about that, because I'm like, well, they're doing an AMA about you 9 times out of 10. It was always the new living story thing. It's like,
yeah,
that's nowhere in the patch notes of like talking about like a World. It's like you're just what it's like. Hey, while I have someone's attention at ArenaNet, I want to talk about this. So they're like, I don't know anything about this. Like, then find someone. Like, it's like,
yeah. The thing is, the devs that they pulled in were basically from the people who made the episode or the patch, I think.
Yeah.
So they may not necessarily know anything else that's going on with the game. Like, they may not work on fractals or raids or World vs. World PvP.
Yeah.
But yeah, like ultimately, like I said, it was just weird. This is my concern about it being episode 2 before, because they were like, oh, we're also doing the Red AMA. I'm like, then how much information is going to, does it warrant 2 AMAs out of it? I mean,
yeah.
Which
well,
I
on
really
the
didn't feel
upside
like it
was
did.
the Reddit AMA is always like right when the patch hit, and now we've had like a week, I think, right? So at least like now you have some time to have gone through it and thought about it or whatever to ask those questions. So on that side, that's at least positive.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Any other thoughts on the ArenaNet Forum Chats?
I hope to see broader topics in the future.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think we're all probably in agreement to that.
At the very least, potentially opening 2, maybe even 3 if they're feeling fancy, sub-forums on a per-month basis, because I totally get that they might only be able to get some spare time for devs for a few key things. So if they have to keep the topics specific, I would very much like to see them do multiple topics during a month.
Chat saying, I've never seen ANet podcasts address community questions.
We've done some.
It's during like guild chat, they do take every now and then they do take questions from like the chat, and they'll answer them.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, once again, it's never like I always see the ones, you know, they're once again, it's almost like the AMAs where it's like they pick the topic, but then there's like the people going, no, like they're doing, once again, 9 times out of 10 it's living story stuff, but it's like people are like, no, let's talk about World v. World, and they're like, well, we're not talking about that. Like,
yeah. I think there's a difference between the guild chats though, because like they've already established what they're going to talk about and what they're going to focus on anyway, and the devs are going to bring in. And like 2 years ago, they would actually, you know, bring in devs from various parts so that people can ask the questions that they wanted. But it doesn't seem like they're doing that as much nowadays.
Yeah, that's definitely not been a thing as much lately. I think that probably coincided a bit with them like kind of battening down the hatches on news and like not talking about stuff as much until it's out.
And Netco's point is about them answering questions, but they've seemed to, but seemingly keeping things focused on one of the 3 phases that they're in, because we've got PvE, PvP, WVW. We have. When's the last time we had any kind of dev communication on WVW?
When they were doing the polls.
When it is directly about WVW.
Yeah.
The last thing was the World vs. World server rework. That was back in January, I think.
Yep.
So
And yeah, I agree with Chad about, to be fair, World v. World is asked about a lot because in the past they were pretty much ignored when it came to dev interaction. I think every game mode has gone through that. They've gotten better with interaction and stuff, but I mean, like I said, if it is a stream about World v. World, because they try to get those devs for that particular thing, so it's not just like, oh yeah, I heard of them talking about that at lunch. Yeah, that sounded interesting. Like, that's not going to be very entertaining. It's, you want the people that are working on it.
Yeah.
So it would be like, me and Jim are on this podcast. You start asking me about, IT stuff. I remember Jim talking about something at one point. Like, it's like, but I would probably direct you to Jim or Age. It's like, it just because they're in the same building doesn't, it kind of goes back to that, like, they're a dev, they work on everything. Like, no, they don't.
Yep.
They probably bounce around maybe occasionally, but they do specialize on, something.
I do everything, Dale.
Oh, okay.
don't ever use the word the phrase everything. That's a very dangerous.
Almost everything.
There you go. Give yourself some wiggle room.
Tell me all about candy corn, Dale. It is disgusting.
I've
No,
never
you're
actually had
wrong.
real candy corn.
Oh, okay. There is no such thing.
What is it?
Zekriox.
Okay. It's a very light color on my screen, and I couldn't see the word letters. So it was like, what the heck? They brought up the point about World versus World devs playing on their streams and hanging out, but not talking to chat about their questions. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that when they were doing that pretty much on their own time. So they didn't have things cleared that they could talk about or answer. So if you're asking them questions about stuff that pretty much we don't know, which I'm guessing that's what you would be asking about, they probably are very restrictive in what they can say anyways. And it is often better not to answer the questions rather than potentially accidentally putting yourself in breach of some thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
It's really hard as a dev, especially to keep track of what's been released and what hasn't, because they're often working on things very far in advance of where we are.
I'm doing that, and I'm the sole project lead and developer on the website that I run for my company.
Uh-huh.
And I lose track of what's live and what isn't.
Yeah.
Pinks, your point about them only talking about past and present production, I'm pretty sure that's entirely in line with Mo's no hype train.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like,
it's
that
definitely a
isn't-
different mentality because while you're coming from the Warframe community, I've just recently kind of gotten into it by playing like, honestly, yeah, I love their community manager, like Rebecca. I think the other one's Meg, and then I don't remember the console one because usually when I hear console, I don't have one. I usually turn off. But so I don't know. Like, I know they have a specific one for that as well. But I've talked in the past about a lot of cool things Warframe's doing, and some other games for like the Twitch pairing and stuff like that, which I would like to see Guild Wars 2 adapt. But I think it's also the differences in mentality, kind of like what we like what they were saying, like kind of the Mo perspective of like no hype type thing. I don't know what Warframes is specifically, but I remember sitting in some of like the more recent streams where it's like the running joke is like, hey, they're talking about something. Oh, we're not going to see that for a year and a half. Like, at least when we get like hear about it now, it's usually
Within the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there are those trade-offs of getting more knowledge. We used to have that knowledge. Like, I remember Colin used to have, like, he did the write-up for, what we want to do in this year. Oh, he said legendary crafting. We're going to get legendary crafting. It didn't work. Why are we getting, not acceptable? Like, so it's tough, having those, things out there when it's such a, in such a flux. Like, you don't know if it will pan out, but...
Yep.
Yeah. But
No.
Inks, I honestly I do too. From someone that does a weekly podcast, but because it does give me
It'd be
something to
nice
talk
to have
about.
more
But,
concrete stuff more often rather than just speculation.
yeah,
Yeah, it's it's a hard it's a hard line to rock though too, because you can say we're working on something or thinking about something or we'd like to do something, and that people take it as a promise that that will be
Right.
coming. Like one of the things still is like templates. Everybody wants templates, and Colin said at some point we'd really like to do templates, and a lot of people are still like, so when's that going to happen? Which who knows where that is on their priorities at this point, or what like technical problems they might have run into. So yeah, it's rough.
And it's kind of like, hell, people even take data mine and leaked information. You remember when we basically got the data mining for Tempest getting soared?
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, Warhorn, the f is that?
yeah,
Yep.
that wasn't in like that's not what it's supposed to be. It's like,
Yep.
You data mined that was never promised to you at all.
It's one of the things that frustrates me with data mining, not that it happens, but that people assume that if it's in the files, then they will see it in
Permanent,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, which, yeah, often, but not always. And it's a thing.
I mean, honestly, Warhorn ended up being good, but I think that's only because Elementalists get 8 skills instead of 2. But
yeah, I love
Yeah.
Warhorn.
and honestly, Mafunga Jones, when they announced the whole alliance thing, like for World War, I was excited, and my first thing was when, but I know it's probably not for a good while. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we were saying at the earliest, probably 6 months, like at the earliest. But
Yeah, especially when they don't give like an estimated date on something. I would never assume it was going to be sooner than that.
yeah, and I don't even think there was that like, because they were still fluctuating on the numbers of like how the alliances and stuff would work and how you could join them up, and it very much feels like, and this doesn't mean it's an insult, it just means it's like early development, but it almost feels like someone took like their idea that was scribbled on a napkin, like it was like, okay, let's start talking about it. So like
I've got this cool little thing. What do you think?
yeah. So, like I said, if everything like no hit like flaws in the system, I could see it as early as 6 months. But we live in reality, and that
6 months at least.
Yeah,
I'm just assuming you're talking about the World server thing.
yeah.
Okay. We got a lot out of forum chats. That's weird.
especially when we got to WW, clearly people want to talk about WW.
So yeah, ArenaNet somehow you see this. Apparently, people want to talk about World World. I don't know what your second topic is, but if you can somehow manage that for second, third one, maybe early on.
Yeah.
Maybe third one. Maybe that way they'll be a little bit further in their new idea. I don't know. Who knows? But
I don't even know if you can come up with a witty intro to this one, Deo.
Go for it.
Oh no, I was actually thinking of one of like, you know how Robin, you were saying when the devs deliver a message and it kind of becomes misinterpreted based on other people. Well, speaking of that, we have an excellent example this week. So we got the third and final friendships video, and I think they just tweeted it out again.
Final? Did they say that?
I think they just put out a tweet this right before we went live where they were actually saying it was the third and final installment, if I'm not mistaken.
I missed that.
Yeah, I missed the second one too. That was low key.
But in this one, well, the first one we had was kind of, I think we talked about it, was kind of like almost like a cheesy couples like dating thing, like I was waiting to see like Match.com's now paired with ArenaNet. Right?
Yeah.
And the second one, I think a lot of people kind of enjoyed because it was kind of like a guild that formed and kind of made outside, meetings, like real life, group ups, and they would do that like events and stuff like that. So I did hear a lot of people enjoyed that one more so than the first one. And then we got the third one that, everybody just loved and there was no problems, right? We can move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Honestly,
I haven't watched any of them really.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest problem is like a lot of people are criticizing these when I don't think they're designed for us. I think the second one could be because it's like, kind of a guild grouping type thing. But yeah, in this one, it's about a streamer who was playing Guild Wars 2, but it's basically how she got into streaming and stuff like that, which was through I think they first met by just a world boss for people that play the game Triple Trouble.
Yeah.
And it kind of, stemmed from there, and, they became friends, and, like, he basically encouraged her to start streaming, and, she did, and she took off, and, I think it was back in last TwitchCon, she was doing, like, a community meetup while she was there, and her community actually surprised her by bringing this guy in who, now seeing the video, lived in Australia, so, pretty big distance to travel to just meet someone that you kind of met in a game. But, since it was like a community meetup, it was a cool little surprise that the community did for her. And they kind of kept it all secret, and they showed like the video while she was kind of doing I think an IRL stream, and was like, they surprised her with, him showing up, and it was pretty cool because I did remember seeing that, like someone linked that back in October, I guess now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that, that's cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess for some people, the way the video portrayed it, a lot of people weren't a fan of it. And I kind of want to say, actually, before we go any further, let's not, and I'm not saying anybody in chat has done it or anything, but, let's not, bash either the people in the video or specifically the devs and whatnot. And I still have it the same way. If a dev came in here and started yelling at us individual and taking it personally, I'd happily ban them. Like, I want to protect you guys as much as we protect them as well. So let's keep it civil, and that goes for when this is on YouTube. But
who wants to start this off?
I'm watching the video right now. And that's it's kind of cute.
It is.
Like they met. It's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with this. Like I was thinking that like she played Guild Wars 2 like once.
Yeah.
And then I find it like I'm watching this now, and it's like their whole friendship started. Like she started her career on Twitch because of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like. Yeah, because of this guy and this because of him encouraging her to do something and to continue being there and being encouraging. It started in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, this fits. This fits the friendships. I see absolutely nothing wrong with this.
And I see chat already bringing up some stuff that was labeled in that video of responses. And like some people were saying sugar daddy and stuff like that. Funny enough, if you actually go look in the comments, because someone created a post of basically saying stuff with no evidence, and I will say this, if you want to make these allegations, please link evidence in our Twitch chat as you're doing it, or if you're watching on YouTube, please link to the evidence that you can show me that they've actually done this, because every trail I've found, and they've explained it away, was like, I think someone said in her like most important people or something, biggest supporters. There was like the second person was at like $9,000 donations in donations total, and then this guy was above this second person. So in a list, I don't think it was a numbered list, it was a bulleted list, which semantics, but kind of important. It's they have them listed above that, which people assumed, oh, he must have donated above $9,000. in reality, she's saying, you know, she came out and actually responded with, this is a person who helped me more, in her mind, more than $9,000, because like you said, this guy helped her start Twitch, like kind of pushed her to do Twitch and stuff like that. And but it's, you know, he says he hasn't donated any of that, and I haven't seen any evidence one way or the other. So it's like, you know, I'm not a fan of getting into the drama of all of it. Like,
So I apparently, like, after the first friendship video, I didn't really pay attention to like any other ones. I completely missed the guild one, apparently, and I remember, and I went to look it up just now, and I actually remembered the title of it. I just didn't actually look at the video. And I remember seeing the third video come up, and I didn't watch that one because, you know, I just didn't watch it. I don't know. Maybe like if I was, you know, wanted to see it later. But I forgot who linked me this thread, and someone linked this thread, and I think it was about like someone at ArenaNet's getting downvoted into oblivion. I'm like, okay, what's up? And I saw this thread. And I'm like, what? They made a video about this? Like, I don't think, like, it doesn't really make sense that ArenaNet would make this type of video. So, like, I decided, you know, I'll wait it out. End of the week, I'll watch the video, see what I think. And when I watched it, I didn't get any of the things that are happening at all. As I watched, like, I watched the flow through of everything that was happening. Because their friendship was based on a boss in Guild Wars 2. It wasn't based on, like, she wasn't streaming at the time. And so I'm like, all right, this is like this what makes the Reddit thread for me a red flag right away. And I don't know about the donation thing, and you know, overall, it's like, it's none of my business. I don't really care, to be honest. But the problem is that I personally don't like accusations being thrown to someone that they may not necessarily be doing, unless there's actual real facts. Like, if you post screenshots and stuff like that, then I'll take a look into it, and then maybe like there's something there. I'll give you an example of this. There was a player in Overwatch League called XQC. He's been having a lot of troubles, and he's been getting in a lot of trouble. And he recently got fined like 4K for something. And it resulted in, like, 2 weeks later, he actually quit the league. But I feel like some of the things in the past he's done, yes, they're warranted fines and stuff. But, like, in this particular case, I think it was questionable. So I don't always base when I see an assumption made or anything like that, or when I see something listed as potential for negativity, I always try to look into it as best as possible before making a decision, because if you make a decision right away, that is very dangerous, because it'll just set your mindset straight through without any facts, regardless of facts. And I think that's important for everyone who posted in that Reddit thread or commented on the thread to understand. And I saw the post by Bria, by Pause, by multiple ArenaNet devs about this situation, and, you know, it's just really kind of sad that it went this kind of route. In the end, I think this person was just trying to say, hey, there were just possible negative perceptions that could have come of this, and I think the OP kind of threw himself under the bus a little bit by trying to, like, skirt under it here and there. But, like, overall, I think there is a main point in all this, and it's just like, you can't make base assumptions based on what you can't just take 5 minutes and then just go to someone's stream and then just, you know, make connotation. I know, like, for that Twitch community, they may understand why Pause is at the top. Like, he's always at the top, like, regardless of any donation that's being made. But we don't know. Like, if I saw that, then maybe, yeah, I honestly, I probably could have made that assumption as well. But like, I'm not going to say anything about that. It's like, it's their business. It's none of my business. But yeah, it's just a weird combination of things that happen that I'm just really sad about, and it's why I'm going to drink this beverage.
And I, what
Okay.
Inks is saying, I saw a lot of people making the comment of like they picked these random videos. It's like, well, they're random because you're not aware of them.
Yeah.
Like they didn't randomly pick them. I mean,
So one of the things that, and honestly, the way people were making it seem is that they were a couple, and it's
Yeah.
like I just read the post from Pause. It's like, no, they're literally just friends with completely platonic, super supportive of each other
That was
friends.
the other thing. People were saying it was uncomfortable because it was like an ultimate friend zone situation, and I was like, I didn't get that at all. Like,
Me
I mean,
neither. Yeah.
to be fair, because I've done a little bit of comedy, like in stand up and stuff. So the comedian in me that like tries to make anything a joke, when I saw that, like, because I think Carnifex even said that was people were complaining because it looks like an older man with a younger woman type thing, and like people said sugar daddy and all that like horrible like. So the comedian in me was like when I first saw that I was like uh-oh, but like that was just me being like it was a joke and like I didn't say that and publish or anything. I mean, granted, I guess I did now, but in reality, when I watched the whole thing, I'm like, because like I said, I saw the thing back in October when I was like, oh, that's a cute little thing, and like, I'm curious. I don't even know how old the guy is. Like, I think they're just
Does it
saying
matter?
he's. Well, I'm just saying. People are saying I think he's older.
Yeah.
He's just he's bald. I don't know if that's affecting it or anything. Like where.
I mean, like, he's probably older, but like, it doesn't really matter.
So
No, and
the second
being
thing-
friends with them, like
the second thing is people are like, how is this promoting Guild Wars 2 if she doesn't play it super actively? Well, like literally their entire friendship is rooted in Guild Wars 2. Her streaming career started because she met this guy in Guild Wars 2. The whole point to this video is that they became friends through Guild Wars 2, and if they did not have Guild Wars 2, they wouldn't be where they are today.
Yeah.
yes.
Which I think is the whole point of this. Now,
yeah.
granted, I do think that if you're trying, and this is one of those things where I think maybe the it wasn't as on the nose with that message as people seem to want, because I don't understand how that was vague at all. I don't understand how that can be misconstrued, but that's like the point. Is Guild Wars 2 is literally the origination of their friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of sad that it's like you do see the streamer and you find out they really haven't played Guild Wars 2 in quite some time. I mean, they did recently I think she even admitted to get footage for the thing, for the video. So it is kind of like sad to hear. It's like the person they're promoting doesn't really even play all that much, but.
There's two things I want to just cover real quick. So first of all, for anyone who thought these videos were like submissions for the friendship contest, they're not. They're made by ArenaNet. There are stories they picked because like can you imagine, like look go back at the videos and see the production quality being made there. Like generally like people don't have that type of production quality. The second thing is and this is kind of the point that I think was very interesting. What is ArenaNet's goal in terms of these videos? Is it to just solely share the friendships part because of Guild Wars 2, or is it to market Guild Wars 2, or is it both? Because that's kind of the thing as a couple people have issue with, because like Dale said, like if you see this person, you see they have a Twitch, it's like, oh, this person plays Guild Wars 2. I'd never seen them play. I'll go visit their stream and see like, hey, what's up? And they they don't really play Guild Wars 2 as much, or maybe like once a week they play Guild Wars 2, and that's perfectly fine. That's up to them. But it's kind of the perception of the thing, like they've played Guild Wars 2. but they don't really play Guild Wars 2 as much as you like let's say Mighty Teapot, who plays like pretty much every day. And that's, I think, an interesting discussion in and of itself, because of just what's the goal of the video. So
yeah, that was started my thinking of, like, you know, what are they trying to advertise here? And I think it is you can develop real life friends in this game, which a lot of people started to talk about. Of, you know, well, you can do that in like basically any MMO, and it's like, what is making this stand out? Like, you could probably have had that on an ESO, on a WoW, on Final Fantasy XIV, like, and just changed out, you know, of course, the actual screen of the gameplay, and you probably wouldn't have noticed. I mean,
yeah. This is another question I have for you guys. If they cut out like the segments where they talked about her Twitch, I don't think this would be an issue whatsoever. So do you think they could have done the video without saying much about Twitch, it's in and of itself, but still make the video have the meaning that that ArenaNet wanted to put out?
They would still need to briefly mention it, because part of the points was that when they actually got to finally meet in person. Like, without that, it's less impactful, you know?
That and like the impact there is that they've been friends for so long, and he's the one who's been encouraging her for the longest time. So without that, with just her Guild Wars 2 talking, and she even says in the stream and even in her post on Reddit that Guild Wars 2 is a casual, like, safe kind of like safe space game for her, where she just, it's something she can play and not have to stream it, but she just does it for fun. So without talking about how her life was affected because somebody was nice to her in Guild Wars and they became friends, there's really no, there's nothing backing the friendship. Like, you're just completely cutting out how this friendship started in Guild Wars 2 and affected the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And I did see other remarks of, like, people were saying, like, you know, the ArenaNet people that responded, like, all but one, like, people were praising, I think it was ANet Liz. I'm saying, like, oh, she was the only one that gave, like, an actual, like response. The other ones were just putting us down. I looked at all of them. There, maybe two of them, you could argue a portion of it was a little bit, like, putting down or, like, a little bit condescending, but there was, like, I think 6 total. Nowhere near what people were fabricating of, like, all but one. Like, no. And I will gladly link to the thing, and there was even a bot in there that's linking to every dev that commented, so you can go. Are we
talking about, like, the devs putting people down? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, that's what a lot of people were accusing them of. Like, and I mean, to at least argue that side of the thing, I will let me see if I can find the two points where like I said, you could kind of argue it. Of one of the people at ArenaNet was talking about, basically in the context of, you know, no matter when you played, as long as you, like, have played at some point, you're always part of the community type of thing, mentality. And kind of leading to the idea of they're focusing on, like, maybe this, like, 5% of people, and I'm probably being generous here, of the whole Guild Wars 2 population that are focusing on this and saying, I'm depressed. I feel I'm like ashamed of the community for acting this way. They're kind of lumping all that in as one whole of, like, maybe 5% of the community, and it's that vocal group. I just don't like how they're saying, like, you know, once in the community, always in the community type mentality. It's like, well, when you open that door, you know, you can step through both ways. I mean, once someone's an employee out there, that's what they do in that game sets it apart. Shall we go back to War v World? Not my game mode. Like, you know, you're messing up my game mode thing. What if we just lumped all the devs and saying, well, they can't take creativity and stuff like that and criticism on a game type and blah blah. That wouldn't be fair to them either. So I don't like how they, like, at some points lumped all the community in there.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays off of the other comment where I think it was almost like it felt like the mom thing, because I want to get it right. It was to see a small group try to take that away and turn it into something negative is not what I expect from the Guild Wars 2 community. I'll say it too. We're better than this. It's the mom thing of I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. It's like, that's so much worse.
Yeah.
So it's like combining those things. It's
So the issue I have, and it's very clear that post was very much singling out the disappointment to the people making the negative connotations with the video.
Yeah.
And I totally, and honestly, like the people trying to tear down on what is very clearly like people being good friends. Hell, I consider you guys my friends, and I didn't meet Age and Arlie in person until PAX 2016, for which I still have my passes hanging right here. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can totally have a serious friendship, like a real good, healthy for you friendship without ever being physically in the same location as another person. I managed to drag Deo off of his stoop once to go to Red Robin.
I was
No
just gonna
way.
say, there you go, ArenaNet. Guild Wars 2 friendships, and get that Red Robin sponsorship with
Got
ArenaNet.
Stoop Kid off of his stoop, so.
I want some endless steak fries, and don't jip me out on them, Red Robin.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, I feel like people are saying the ArenaNet devs are lumping everyone into the I'm disappointed in you, and it's like, no, very clearly they stated that it's like the few people who are trying to see the absolute worst in this.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm glad Ink said this, because I thought I saw another comment that, like, because the one comment that was talking about the, I'll say it too, was referencing another comment, and I could not find it. I think it was deleted or changed or altered. And I guess it's saying, I am personally saddened by this thread because we as a community are better than this. Let's please choose to be better than this. So, see, at least that statement, kind of lumped it. It's poor word choice, but I would also argue, I think one of the comments also talked about, like, or at least a lot of the people were bringing up, they can't be responsible for how you perceive it, because a lot of people were like, oh, an older man with this younger woman, oh my god, the horrid things. It's like, well, that's going on in your own head. That's not what's in the video. Like, but I do have to say, they do prep. They did this kind of stuff for POF. We heard it in guild chat I think it was a guild chat where they were talking about when they were designing the name and stuff. They were like, we had that list, and we had to make sure that the lettering wasn't going to be like some kind of offensive thing that we're not picking up on. So they do, as a marketing strategy, try to make it so you don't, people can't turn it into something that's like horrible, like this. Like, so and we do know the marketing has changed in the past, so maybe they left that strategy.
You try that, but like, especially with videos, you can't proof it away from being interpreted badly by anyone ever, because there are so many different ways that people visually see things and interpret it, and has an impact. And I like I said, I watched the video and I didn't pick up on any of the weirdness that people were talking about. So I don't know.
It's all a lot of people doing their own personal sleuthing and then making inferences without, like, because Bria said nobody brought this up with her in her stream, when they could have just come to her and been like, hey, yo, what up? And she probably would have explained it.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised that no one in her community actually found out about this and told her.
Well, like, I think we were saying before, like, she doesn't really play Guild Wars 2 all that much on stream.
Like, not her.
Late, so it's like,
yeah, not her in particular, but like, I don't know. I had imagined that at least like one person from her stream plays Guild Wars 2.
But I mean, maybe they're not following the subreddit.
Well,
yeah, it's.
But I think Zekriox had a good point. Is, in summary, jumping to negative conclusions is bad, and that's both from the community and from the developers. And it's one of those things where, as
I think it was
The
just
devs are held to a higher community standard, warranted or not, and sometimes it's very much unwarranted being held to that standard. I mean, hell, I am MMO Champion Forums. I have a special color to my name tag. If I post, I am a moderator of solely the Paladin subforums for World of Warcraft, but my name stays that same color anywhere I post. If I were to post in the general off-topic threads, I would still have my moderator tag, and people would still hold me to a higher regard, even though, according to the rules, I am no more than a regular user in any form other than Paladin. So those devs are held to this, you represent the company standard all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, ultimately, I'm kind of... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like it's just...
No. Sorry.
Don't go, Age.
I feel like it was just a lot of miscommunication. Just a lot of assumption and miscommunication that just made that wild.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem is it's like a minute, maybe 2 minute long video. It's not a long video, basically. And it's hard to explain some of that stuff that like I think got explained afterwards to some of these people that
now Inks, I kind of agree with you in that, and this is the other point that I have, is that really getting people to play Guild Wars 2 is kind of tangential with this video. If I was not playing Guild Wars 2, I would look at this, I'd be like, oh, that's nice, and then I wouldn't think about buying Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, I honestly don't really look at these as a marketing thing. I get why people do, but...
Well, they're from the marketing department, so you would kind of expect...
I know. I was gonna say, it is weird because it is like I said, you could find this in any multiplayer game, like a good group of friends that you could stem from. It's like, it might be harder in some, like a League of Legends. Like, at least that's what I've heard.
I've met some people.
See, there's exceptions to everything. It's but I mean, come on, League of Legends is known for kind of the hostility and stuff like that.
So, okay,
every PvP game, okay?
First 2-3 seasons, I would agree, like, it was kind of bad, but it got way better over time, for sure.
Okay, see, it didn't really show off what made, I feel like Guild Wars 2 special. Like, it really didn't feel like it was advertising for Guild Wars 2. It was almost advertising for gaming communities, like...
Yeah, I feel like it's more of like a celebration of the community in different aspects of it than
this is the feel good fluff piece that news stations will run when they don't have anything really serious going on.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, it's kind of cool to hear about people who meet lifelong good friends through gaming. It makes me happy to hear that. But
what's actually very interesting is that I feel like no one would be talking about this whatsoever if they were more personal about that video. Like the post Bria made, she detailed some things that were extremely personal about like their conversations between each other, between Bria and Pause. Like, I like, wow, like, and that's not something you talk like, and it's just and it's kind of breaking that boundary, like what you want to share with the world and not. But it sucks that it had to go to that point where like she had to share that, and I don't know. I guess my final thought about this is, what do you think ArenaNet should make more of these, or do you think
the friendships? No,
like it's gotten to a point where it might just get worse.
The friendships, no. I'd like to see them actually do some kind of marketing with gameplay. Stop advertising it as a friendship game, like as a friendship builder. Like, honestly, I'm honestly sick of the Guild Wars 2, the friendliest community. Like, I have been sickened by that for probably the last like 6 months as they've been delivering that as like their tagline, because for me it feels like like I've always heard this story with like delivery men and like people that like go into people's houses to service things, is like they have an animal, a pet, and it's like, what do you think the two top things are they hear from these people that have a pet? Oh, don't worry, it doesn't bite, and oh my god, that's never happened before. Like, it seems like ArenaNet doesn't understand their community because they keep saying it's the friendliest community. Oh my god, you guys are being mean. Like, it's like you're not. There's some kind of detachment or like with the community. It feels like, but
wait, Age, you're not bringing Inks down with you to PAX?
Stop. No, let's not
Wait.
start this.
What?
Stop.
Come on, H. Jeez,
That was the plan, man.
ruined everything.
friendships ruined.
So the thing that Zachryox, it's one of those things. Us getting compensated for advertising the game means that they continue to have people playing the game. They continue getting money for the gem store, and we keep getting free content. That's how we get paid for marketing the game for them. We also get paid in good content. So I'll say that honestly, since Heart of Thorns release, where admittedly they stepped up to the plate and said, we done goofed, and they fixed Heart of Thorns. And then season 3 after that was fantastic. I enjoyed it. And then Path of Fire, fantastic. Like the announcement for Path of Fire, yeah, by the way, you got 2 months until that releases. I mean, I thought that was pretty nice. And then it's like, okay, we have like what, 2 or 3 months, and then here's season 4, episode 1. And then 2 or 3 months, season 4, episode 2. We continue getting stuff. If they make the game awesome, we get happy about it. We do things like tell our friends. We have a weekly news podcast. So it's one of those things where,
Though, to be fair, if there's less content, the weekly news podcast at least wouldn't be like 2 and 3 hours long.
that's only when it's on lore, and that's your fault.
By the way, we should get going. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like we're kind of just driving this topic in, and we still have a big one that I think Age will want to talk about. So.
No.
You couldn't put it off forever, Age. But yeah, we can always continue this conversation after show, or if you're on YouTube, you know, in the comments. But yes, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how there was a balance change, like coming for World War PvP, some nice skill splits. They did update that as of, I think it was last week. Like I guess we missed it for the show or something. Like it kind of got lost in the shuffle with all the living story stuff and all that. But they did update to it, and they compiled, you know, all these changes. And I think the best thing to do is take it away, Age.
You can do it, Age. I believe in you.
That's basically the summary I think Age got from it. But I mean, you know, I guess let's do it the nicest way. So, what did you guys think of the changes? All good, right?
They're reducing damage a lot. And I'm okay with that, because something I think Mithrin brought up way back when we were talking about PvP inexplicably at the start of things with the match manipulation, is that things in PvP are really fast. Like, you get jumped on and you're dead. So I'm okay with reducing damage. Problem is, they also have to reduce coefficients on Condi at the same time, because otherwise they're just killing power and bringing back more Condi meta. You're muted, Arlie.
Damn it.
Okay.
I was just saying Condi will rule the world.
That's the problem. It already does. We haven't gotten out of a Condi meta. They're just making it worse. The continuing doubling down on increasing cooldowns on passive traits for procs and stuff, just rework the traits. Just rework them, because, okay, the example I brought up during the stream on Wednesday was that the warrior trait that procs lesser balance stance, the one that makes you immune to physical damage. Right now, the cooldown on it is 60 seconds when you drop below 50% health. Makes you immune to physical damage for 2 seconds. They're thinking of increasing it to 90 seconds. No other changes, just 90 seconds.
They're not making it last longer?
No.
That's dumb.
And their complaint there is that you can chain the passive proc along with having balanced stance on your bar, so that you could chain that immunity. And I think regular balance stance lasts for 4 seconds. So it's a full 6 seconds of immunity. And the complaint is that, it's too safe.
Yeah, but it's two separate things. Like,
you're blowing a lot of resources to survive that one instance of a fight.
Yeah.
So that's a win, even if you don't kill someone, because you burn their resources, which means they can
the next person could come. Yeah.
Exactly. Or they have to stay away from fighting you until they get those resources back. But it's one of those things where I'm looking at it and I'm like, if you don't like passive traits in PvP and WW, rework them. Because you're just making the best choice worse. You're not actually changing what the best choice will be. People will still take that trait to proc lesser balanced stance because it is good to have that kind of emergency auto proc. So that's a problem I have. That's my issue with all of these changes on passives. So, what'd they do to Thief to make you angry?
Let me finish this first.
Okay.
Like, I think this was like the first thing we saw like this new week, and yeah, I think immediately Age was not happy with it. And I was like, oh boy, we're gonna have a great show, even before all the other stuff.
I kind of have to agree with Mithrin, though, is that Distortion, I think, has way too much of an uptime in PvP and WW. It feels very difficult to pin down a Mesmer. And actually, like, just one, with how mobile they are in the first place, and then two, actually being able to put damage through on them with the amount of distortion that they can spam out.
You good, Age?
Okay. He's gathering his thoughts.
I don't know. I saw him pound that drink. I thought he might be gathering. Okay.
I'm trying to form words in my head that don't consist of swear words. Okay. Okay. So, I agree that passives are an issue in PvP and World World. I'll take that as this is a positive thing. And, I agree that some passives need to be dealt with. But like Malthanis said, some of those passives need to be reworked in order to have some sort of viability. Because let's say Warrior's Define Pain passive, that feels utterly useless. Just change it to something else. Like, it's more useful. Now, the Thief things. What are you doing, ArenaNet? Please, what are you doing to me? Thief has not been horribly oppressive as other professions have been recently. And I put a post on the forums to detail the certain three specific changes that happened that they wanted to do, that they shouldn't do because of reasons that I put on the forums. And they just went ahead and did them, plus revert all the things that they buffed. So it's just a flat out nerf for Thief with a buff to what? Dagger Storm, which no one really uses, and
I saw Dagger Storm used in Unranked 2 weeks ago.
That's nice. It was Blinding Powder, I think. I forgot what it was. There was another skill. Smoke Screen. That was it. It doesn't make sense to me because you're just in a world where we're Thief players, you have to be really skilled to play Thief at a high proficiency, and you have to deal with all the ton of the AoEs, the 8 boons that people have randomly at any one time, the Condi that have to it's so many things to deal with. But they just decide nerf Thief. I don't understand So it's going back to the forum chats thing. It's like I want to ask, like, why are you doing this to me? But I don't understand. Now there were other and this would also kind of triggers me because Rangers like the
Druid needs some nerfs.
The nerfs that they did were only for PvP. So in World vs. World, I'm still screwed.
Oh no, you're screwed for roaming.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of a given. They did do a bunch of Mesmer nerfs to, and I think those were honestly warranted because they were really, really like, especially Mirage. It's really strong, so I think it's just a little bit warranted in that department. I don't know how much of an effect it'll have. That's for Mesmer players to determine, but I'm so sad, guys. So sad.
So it's one of those things where I look in WW, and if you're a roamer, PvP changes are usually like the things that are in PvP are usually good for roaming. But I can only imagine that if druids were nerfed the exact same in WW for like Zerg fights, they'd be nigh useless. So there's that.
I'm glad I can continue to have it, but like seriously, I don't understand.
And to answer chat's question, they nerf or with Thief the skills Lazarus Strike reduced the power coefficient from 15% in PvP and War v World. And they decided not to do the following buffs for Heartseeker, Shadow Shot, Infiltration Strike, which I think were the previous,
Yes,
some of the previous
still,
stuff.
But still nerf dagger and sword auto attacks, which sucks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you actually sit there and auto attack people?
I will get a max 4 auto attacks in before I disengage and decide what to do next.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, no, he'll still get those 4 auto attacks. It'll act like maybe
they'll be like it'll be like 5. It's like minus 500 damage at best, I think, but still, that's very significant in World vs. World,
and
especially for roaming.
See, Netco, my point is that if you've got a bunker druid, you're not supposed to be able to kill them. They're a healer. Like that's any MMO game ever in PvP is that if you try to 1v1 a healer, they shouldn't die. However, if they're able to kill you, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of the problem because they just outlast you. That's the thing. If you 1v1 a druid, they will just simply, like, if they take any chunk of damage, they'll just Celestial Avatar, which has stealth for some weird-ass reason, and when they actually take it off, and they'll just slightly heal themselves, and they'll use their smoke scale to just pummel you in the meantime. And if they want to stealth up, they'll use Celestial Avatar to do it, or they'll use the smoke scale, and and ironically, if you actually get some good damage off, they'll use the Signet of Stone, which they actually did nerf, and just not take any more damage, actually heal up, reduce, and it's just a cycle of how long will this take the druid to kill you? That's literally the answer. Will you run away, or will the druid just kill you? How long will the druid kill you? That's pretty much how long it takes. In a 1v1 environment, mind you.
Mm-hmm. You good, Ade? You feel better now getting that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say this though, like it's kind of veering away from it, but like every time I post on the forums, when it comes to balance on Thief, I take it kind of seriously, and whenever I post on it, I post detailed things on why this is being buffed or why this is being nerfed and why I'm okay with certain things. But in the end, it just seems to the changes seem to happen no matter what. And then either I have to live with it, or 6 months later, ArenaNet realizes that they should have listened to me and buff it anyway. But I don't think this just stems from balance, to be honest. I feel like this also branches on into other things as well, like the marketing campaign. like people posted their feedback about arenas, like back in January, where people were posting about the feedback on the videos, right, the minute-long videos, and then they put out another marketing video, which was pretty much the same thing with like small variations, but it really didn't cover the things that people were talking about in the forums, and that it doesn't feel good to like take the time to actually provide the feedback, but not have, and it's feedback that a lot of people are saying, but it's not really iterated upon.
Yeah, like I said,
yeah.
and like I think you keep bringing it back to the ArenaNet Forum thing. It's like that's why it's like for me that this Forum 1 about episode 2. It's like, well, we've been there, done that. Like I'd like to see since this is kind of something coming up, and they're willing to change it. I mean, they had that later post where they're like, well, we're changing things up. I wish they would have did it on this topic. I'm not even a PvP player, but / War of Water, but I think that would have been such an important thing, and but
to me it just feels like they're posting. I won't say they won't take any feedback, right? But it just feels like it's just a minuscule result.
It's also the other thing of we're seeing stuff that has probably been in motion far before we've even offered the feedback.
Yeah.
So there is a certain amount of momentum that can't be counteracted with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you guys, I just don't want to post any more feedback when it comes to thief balance changes, because it just feels like it'll just happen. Like they'll just do what they want no matter what, and that's
the other thing that I've always asked myself, and this is one of the things that I had a problem with when I was still actively playing Paladin a lot. One of the things that, and a little bit of history, World of Warcraft Cataclysm launched, they changed a bunch of systems. Ret Paladins got Holy Power, which was just, you build up a set of points and then you expend them all on attack. It's not like Rogues had combo points in the same system where you could spend it at as many you had. You could only spend 3. Okay, fine, whatever. Give us an ability to randomly generate an extra Holy Power. Okay, so you're actively making us hate getting to 3 because we might waste the proc on Overflow. Devs are like, oh no, you'll be fine. It's fine, don't worry about it, it's great. Game releases, it gets changed a week and a half in because it was shit. So I totally understand where you're coming from when you say that, like, you and other top thieves are like, hey, why? No, don't, please. And they just do it anyway. The other side of that is, as a developer, I know they have access to metrics that we will never, ever, ever see. Yeah. So that's where I have a little bit of trepidation in saying, ANet, why you do things without feedback. Because it's like, they've got the feedback, but they've also got the private statistics that they have. So
yeah, I totally understand it from that perspective as well. It's just that I feel like I'm on a wheel where this is happening again to me. I don't know. And
see, like, you're still focusing on the actual balance changes. This makes me think of, like we talked about in the forum thing. It seems like they want to get more people involved in the forums, but like you said, you're feeling like you're discouraged. Like, I feel like they got to figure out some way to, like, at least know that the person's voice is being heard, because it's like, if someone's voice, if they feel like their voice isn't being heard, they're gonna think, why bother shouting to nothingness? Like,
yeah.
That's the problem here with the Mo anti-hype train, or if yeah. I'm going to go with, like, the DC universe, the nega hype train.
Yeah, I won't say they won't listen, because I don't want to make this too much about Thief, but, like, they did listen to that Heartseeker, Shadow Shot, and possibly Infiltrator Strike didn't really need buffs because they were fine the way they were. And I didn't, and I said specifically, I don't understand why these are getting buffs. Maybe it's to compensate for the dagger auto attack nerfs and sword auto attack nerfs, and that's why I thought they were buffing them. But they canceled those changes, but still kept the nerfs to the auto attacks. So I'm just feeling overall nerfed in that respect. So it seems like from ArenaNet's perspective, Thief is doing too much damage in terms of auto attacks, but not necessarily in the skills that they use.
I completely disagree with that. A thief doesn't auto attack me to death. When I'm playing my ranger, that's not what happens. So I don't know why they're nerfing auto attack damage. So I agree with you that like it's the why.
Now, is this like the final thing, or are they still open to changing things? Like, could things get turned around, or
It doesn't.
Yeah, as far as I know, this is kind of the final thing.
Well, as far as I can tell, they haven't until the patch notes get released.
yes,
Nothing is final.
yeah, very
So
true.
these are the changes they're looking to ship, and they might not. So
Well, hopefully,
they said
when
it's
the
final, no
server
more
does
changes.
drop, we'll get the final idea on it. But basically, for sake of time, let us move on to the gem store. Maybe up your spirits, get a new item for yourself in the gem store.
No.
Come on. Always thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. So first up, we have a new outfit, the Inquest Exosuit outfit. And remember, it is an outfit, all or nothing. You can hide the head. Which the sad thing is, and I've seen some people make this mention, I would just like the head item because it is basically like a Dragon Ball Z scouter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking that yesterday. I'm like, I want that helmet with the rest of the other exosuit that I have. That made me look like an Iron Man, but I would swap the helmets. That'd be so cool.
Yep. I think
And
the
like
same
chat's
thing.
saying, it interacts with Hollow Forge on Engineer, and I've seen other screenshots. Like I think it also interacts with the Druid's celestial form type thing. Like it kind of just leaves the hologram pieces on.
Nice.
So it does make a cool effect for like those select classes. But are any of you picking this up for 700 gems, or have you?
No, because the stomach hollow plating is dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's like hollow six-pack.
Well, and that's the funny thing. It's like I remember seeing all these responses of like, "Hey, can't we show like more skin as like the male character? Can't they have a skimpy outfit?" They finally gave us, like showing off like the, six-pack type thing, and everyone's like, "No." But
Not like this.
yeah,
I'm sure the people who wanted the six-pack will be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I look at that and I'm like, that's where more armor is supposed to be. And you've got like and there are gaps in between the hollow plates. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Oh,
It's a slot for beer belly growth.
in chat, I do agree. The Dreamer outfit is the go-to male skimpy outfit, but if you want a sci-fi theme, you got to go with this. So there you go.
What does the Dreamer outfit look like?
That's the
on
one that was
now?
almost like, I think it was like that like weird lime green, like by default, and it's
Yeah.
literally like, here's the chest, it's like a V, like
Oh. Nice.
like yeah, it was definitely I think that one showed more skin, but and honestly, my problem with that is I actually have that. From the back I like it, but when I see the front, it's like I don't want a super V-neck. Like what's going on here? Like
no, Pinks. We just need nipples from we just need the bat nipples from
Oh, Jesus.
Batman.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of outfitted out. Like
No, I don't think anybody's going to do a power level joke, Zachary-Ox, because we can't have a scouter. We
trust
have to
me,
buy
I was
the
definitely
outfit.
thinking about it for like the
That's
intro,
true. That's the
but
joke.
I just
That's the joke. We can't think about it because we can't have the
You can't
scout.
realize the dream.
yeah. But yeah, oh, and chat's liking it as like a female outfit type thing. Like, yeah, I mean, if you do like this, definitely pick it up for 700 gems. It does die pretty well. I mean, with the hologram type thing, and if you like it showing through for a holosmith, or I think people are even saying for the like
Druid.
well, for the druid, but I think also people were saying also for the necromancers
Skirt.
shroud.
Oh,
skill.
for the shrouds. Okay.
I think people were mentioning that as well. I'm not.
That'd be
but,
cool.
Yeah, I can't change my Bishonen Necro because Crystal will be mad.
Oh, also people were saying. I remember I saw a picture. Also, the Malik for Revenant, like when it changed forms, it also did it there. So definitely cool if you like that aesthetic. But yeah, I think it's pretty much unanimously like, yeah.
I do like the holographic armor pieces that come with it, though. It's fairly similar to the exosuit that you had that Arena released beforehand.
Yeah.
That I actually have that outfit, and I like that outfit. It's the first time I've actually used one for a really long time now that I think about it.
Next up, we got some March Madness sales. If you haven't been following ArenaNet, you probably missed like the, stuff from the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, which I would say really the only thing that like you probably wanted to go after on the 16th was the character slot expansions if you need them. The home instance node pack maybe would be cool if you want one of those. There's die kits, which I think we all know by now our preference for the die kits, and some other cosmetic stuff. But today, if you're watching this live on Saturday, you can get bag slot expansions for 280 gems, 30% off. So
Nice.
make sure to pick those up if you need them.
I might actually get that for my Guardian.
Yeah.
Because I want a bookshelf. I have like 12 books in my Guardian's inventory.
Yep. I was just thinking that the other day when I was working on the living story, I was like, I need a bookshelf for all these books because I like them and I like to flip through them occasionally, but
I have a slot and a half in my bank dedicated to living story stuff.
nice.
So it doesn't take any character slots.
Also available till next Tuesday, the Crystalline Dragon Wings backpack. So, and I believe that's a backpack glider combo. So,
Yep.
Definitely, I'd recommend it, but I'm kind of biased on that. But I think you can get that for 700 gems. It's pretty cool looking. Any other thoughts on the gem store stuff?
Keep the March Madness coming. We'll see what they come up with.
Yep.
Haven't they done the like a big roll-up sale at the end of the month before, like for daily stuff like this?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
They bring back a bunch of the discounts for the last few days.
I think they have done that before, but it's random. Like they don't always do it.
Okay.
Also, last up in our community corner, this week the Crichton Herald actually put out a video talking about the Pale Tree and the lore around it. Definitely, if you're not familiar with the Crichton Herald, like honestly, listen to it just for the voiceover. Like her voice, like is so soothing. Like honestly, I finally figured out why I think I like it so much. Is she sounds like, and I don't know if anybody can back me up, but Teresa from Guild Wars 1, from Fable 1, like as like a kind of teenager type thing, like the kind of. But I was like, I started listening to it, I was like, this sounds so familiar. I played it, and I was like, oh my god, it's like. So if they ever do like a remaster of it, there you go. There's the person to do the voiceover. But just so people know, it does take it from the perspective of like, it seems like current time in game because it does reference the Pale Tree as like a dragon champion and stuff like that. So.
Cool.
But also, Games Love and Life is actually having a 50 sub celebration, running a world boss train to celebrate it, and she wants to, get more of her like YouTuber friends in on it, which I think she said she wanted to have that kind of like at least squared away planning wise by next Saturday, and then probably figure out a time to actually do it. So I might actually join that, ultimately depending on what time. I think it'd be kind of fun. I haven't done World Boss Train in a while.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah, and so but yeah, I think the cutoff for it is that Saturday. So what is that, March 24th, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
Next week.
also, this last one, I saw it pop up on Reddit, and luckily they posted in our Talking Skritt community thing, link in the description. I'm doing Jim's portion now. So that way we could like kind of talk about it, and I hopefully I don't mess up the name, but it's like Rolski. I hope I'm saying it right. And they kind of sat around and listened to all the ambient dialogue of the little like town in the New Living Story thing, and without getting into like too much like spoiler stuff, like I'm not even going to talk about like what who was in the village type thing, but it is a great spot to hear if you kind of want to explore like their belief, like their background and understanding of why they're there, and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely interesting to hear, especially if you don't have the time to sit around, because I think it's about an 8-minute long video, but gathering all that stuff could have probably took a lot longer than 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I think it's even different depending on what race you are, and they actually cycle through that. So.
Oh, that could be very interesting.
Yeah. So definitely check those out. Links. We'll throw the links in chat, but also if you're watching this on YouTube, links will be in the description, of course. But we'll probably be. That looks like that's it for this week. So, Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MalfanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, because I have to remember to say that now, for our Zero to Hero PvP/WW night. Since it's currently off season, it's kind of a toss-up between unranked queue and WW. Honestly, I'm really digging playing Dragon Hunter in WW, because getting to free fire into a Zerg with a longbow and constantly proccing the tether is really fun. Especially when I'm running the AoE Virtue of Justice proc and just I see the burning ticks everywhere. It makes me really happy. So come on over and hang out on Wednesdays.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, where I haven't had much of the special juice. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Vermintide 2. I think it's been really fun. Definitely pick it up if you enjoy Left 4 Dead. And I don't know if I'll stream it tonight, but I'm doing the rest of my Overwatch plays.
Ooh.
So I might stream that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm usually streaming Guild Wars 2 raids next week. If the people need a sub, which usually happens. And yeah, just come out, have some good times.
Awesome. And Arlie, where can they find you?
On Twitch and Twitter at Arlie82. I haven't streamed in a while, but I'm gonna try to start doing that again recently. I'm going to try and start doing that again soon.
She's gonna try to do it recently.
And I also write for MMORPG.com and GameSpace.com. A lot of different reviews and stuff, and that's about it. Yay. Oh, I'm also so the MMORPG has a Guild Wars 2 column, and me and some of the other guys are going to take turns on it. So once a month, I'll be doing one of those articles.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have to talk about it on here and be like, it was all, you totally missed the point. Internet rage. But yeah, can't wait to see more of that. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And Arlie stole my line of I'm going to try to stream more. Ugh. That's my shtick. But
You're gonna stream. Dale's gonna stream even more, guys.
Yeah, I will stream even more recently. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out. If you are just popping at the very end, do stick around. We do a bit of an after show or more free form, more interaction with everybody in chat. If you're watching on YouTube, if you can't make it out to the live show, we go live at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And I would like to thank this week for the Twitch hosts from Aurora Peachy, host of Ascalon, Shadows of the Dragon podcast, Sundura, Serene Virus, That Chevron, Maple Syrup and Beers, MMO Inks, Jaibu Cool, 7-Bit Brian, and Moonkiller NV. And yeah, that definitely wraps it up for this week, and we will see everybody next week and always in the game. Good night, everybody.
Bye, friends.
Take care, guys.